Hey, hey, hey. Happy Wednesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch. Brought to you by, amazingly enough, thegaminggang.com. I know, isn't that crazy? Of course, I am the founder and editor-in-chief of the Gaming Gang. So if this is your first time joining me, welcome aboard. Come on in, kick back, relax, take it easy. It is not rocket surgery taking place here. We are simply hanging out and talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news. So if you're into board games, card games, role-playing games, miniatures games, you name it, we're probably talking about it right here. And of course, if you are longtime viewers, if you are constant viewers, thank you once again for popping in to join me. Tonight is Wednesday, January 20th, 2021. Isn't that kind of odd, right? 1, 20, 20, 21. Zoinks! This is actually live stream number 607. Anyway, so before I jump into the news tonight, I do want to remind you that if you like this video, by all means, give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already, and if you do subscribe, ding that bell, because it'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live right here on YouTube, it'll also let you know when I upload other videos, such as my review of Apocalypse Road from GMT Games. It's in the can, it's done, it's ready. It'll be up later on tonight. No. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Of course, this is a live stream, so that also means that chat is available. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways that I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But if you want to say hello, or maybe you got a question, a comment, by all means, chime in. I do my best to respond because I do pay attention to chat. Speaking of chat, so far we've got Clint Gibson was first out the gate saying howdy. John Vogel is here, as well as Beat Cafe. Flaming Heron just popped in as well. So one of our two chat moderators is in the house. We will not see the Madman because Wednesday, this is a Wednesday where it's his gaming Wednesday. I guess it's every other Wednesday. So we already know. Probably will not be seeing the Madman tonight. That's cool. Got a cool chat already started off. Very nice. So John says, hey, it's Wargame Wednesday. Yes. That's why I've got Apocalypse Road review tonight. And I actually have a Wargame news piece. So there you have it. All right. So let me grab a quick sip here. So once again, I am wearing glasses. I'm giving the old eyes rest from the contacts for a few days. So, although funny thing is, you'll see if you check out the Apocalypse Road review, I shot that before I decided to take a little break for the old eyeballs here. So yeah, so once again, I apologize. Probably getting a little bit of glare popping up from the glasses. There's probably some odd optical, things going on. But last night, I think it was Flaming Heron who was joking about I should do the show without the glasses on. And then people would be like, Jeff, why are you squinting? I'll be very honest. At this point, I can't read anything. I'd be like, huh? I'd be like, garbly, 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 gook. Now I can see just fine. So let's jump on into the news because relaunching today on Kickstarter for Quined Games is Carnegie. Here's the skinny. Carnegie was inspired by the life of Andrew Carnegie, who was born in Scotland in 1835. Andrew Carnegie and his parents emigrated to the United States in 1848. Although he started his career as a telegraphist, his role as one of the major players in the rise of the United States steel industry made him one of the richest men in the world and an icon of the American dream. Andrew Carnegie was also a benefactor and philanthropist. Upon his death in 1919, more than $350 million of his wealth was bequeathed to various foundations, with another $30 million going to various charities. His endowments created nearly 2,500 free public libraries that bear his name, the Carnegie Libraries. During the game, you will recruit and manage employees, expand your business, invest in real estate, produce and sell goods, and create transport chains across the United States. You may even work with important personalities of the era. Perhaps you'll even become an illustrious benefactor who contributes to the greatness of his country through deeds and generosity. The game takes place over 20 rounds. Players will each have one turn per round. On each turn, the active player will choose one of 4 actions, which the other players may follow. The goal of the game is to build the most prestigious company as symbolized by victory points. There is a quick Kickstarter video, so let's take a peek.
Carnegie, man of steel, man of dreams. Steel made him one of the richest men in the world and an icon of the American dream, and steel provided the funds to become a benefactor and philanthropist. In Carnegie, players will recruit employees and expand their businesses by investing in real estate, producing goods, developing transport technology, and creating transport chains across the United States. But players also invest in public health care, education, general welfare, and human rights. With easy-to-handle core mechanisms, but tough and plentiful decisions to make. Great artwork from the artist of Lisboa and the Gallerist, combined with fresh and original gameplay by the designer of Troyes and Carson City, with uniquely designed components which add extra fun and challenges to the game. Discover Carnegie by Xavier Georges, artwork by Ian O'Toole, published by Quined Games.
Carnegie is for 1 to 4 players, ages 12 and up, plays in about 2 to 3 hours. This project has already passed its funding goal. You can reserve a copy of the game for a $79 pledge through February 7th. Expected delivery is this September. So I guess this was originally, this originally hit Kickstarter back in, I think it was December, and they ended up canceling it, although it was really close to funding. So they must have tweaked some aspects of the project. Could be kind of an interesting game, especially if you like economic games. Looks like there's quite a bit going on in it as well. And plays in 2 to 3 hours. So that means there's got to be something cooking. Actually, I should say Flaming Hero was pointing out that they're watching the show wearing spectacles as well. And if they took their specs off, they took their glasses off, they'd probably be in the Same shape as what? What? Where's it? What? Where'd the words go? Oh, there they are. The words are back. All right. So moving right along. Landing in stores this March is Crazy Fishing. And here's what Devir Games has to say about it. On a great summer morning, you head to your favorite breakwater, hoping to enjoy a nice and relaxing day of fishing. But the sun barely rises over the horizon, and oh no! How is it possible? Other fishermen already occupy your favorite place. Well, nothing without worries. You laugh at the goldfish, you accept the challenge, and you swear that you are going to surpass all the others. Crazy Fishing is a game for 2 or more fishermen who compete to catch the biggest fish in the whole sea. Try to catch more and bigger fish than the other players to be the player with the most points. You thought it'd be a nice, relaxing day on the water, waiting for the fish to bite, watching the clouds drift by. But now it's a frantic race to catch the biggest fish and prove once and for all who is the best fisherman. Use the right bait with your best rod and reel to lure out the biggest fish you can catch. Make sure you have the gear you really need so you can beat the competition and get those fish faster. In Crazy Fishing, 2 to 6 players become fishermen or women, or fishers, I guess we'll call them fishers, who compete to catch the biggest fish in the sea. You play over a number of rounds divided into 3 steps. The cast, where all players play simultaneously and choose and play 1 rod and reel card and 1 bait card. The catch, where they catch fish based on the speed of the rod and reel cards and reel them in, where you refill your hand. The winner is the player who has the highest score obtained catching, fishing, and bonus cards. Habba-dabba-dabba? Like, that sentence didn't make any sense. Although I have to admit, I do not believe that Devir Games is from an English-speaking country. So I'm going to take a guess. It's supposed to say the winner is the player who has obtained the highest scoring fish and bonus cards. That's what I'm thinking. Crazy Fishing is for 2 to 6 players, ages 6 and up. Plays in about 15 to 30 minutes. It's going to carry an MSRP of $19.95 when it hits stores in March. I thought I'd throw a bone out there for the folks who like every once in a while I share some, family games that are good for the little ones, the smaller kids. So a little math action going on in this game as well. So I see that Zoran1, double Z. We'll say double Z1 from now on. And a Gray Day have joined us in chat. Good to see you both. Welcome aboard. All right, let's move on to another Kickstarter project. This one's currently running for Quined Games. And here's what I know about the enhanced edition of Rommel in the Desert. Rommel in the Desert is a fast-moving, challenging, tense, and playable war game based on the North Africa Desert Campaign of World War II. This game has been enjoyed by thousands of gamers for over 20 years. Experience the war game many consider the best on the subject. Rommel in the Desert simulates the experience of command. The real problems of generals have nothing to do with shuffling combat factors to get a perfect 3-to-1 attack while the enemy waits passively to be overwhelmed. Rommel gained many of his victories by employing speed, daring, and surprise. In this game, as in the Desert Campaign, the events of the battlefield are often subordinate to the battle of wits and nerves between opposing commanders. A good grasp of strategy will help, but foresight, nerve, and instinct are the crucial elements of success. Quined has a very short Kickstarter video. I mean, it's just over 30 seconds. So let's kick back and give it a quick peek.
Proud to announce that one of the top 100 war games of all time, according to Board Game Geek and the gaming community, is coming back with an enhanced edition on Kickstarter. That's right, Rommel in the Desert is coming back and coming back strong. Now, it's important to say that we're not changing the rules. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. However, this enhanced edition is allowing us not to be no longer boxed in with our old production ways, okay? This is a test that may, if it works, may very well be the new rules that we use to make our games in the future, okay? And it is our new map to success, as you can see here with this beautiful mounted map board, purely mounted, and it's got some great modernized artwork to give an old classic a new feel. So for everybody out there, a great game is in the cards. So whatever your inhibitions may be, don't let that block you from pledging now for Rommel in the Desert.
Wow, it seemed like, he was on a timer there. Jeez. Yeah, it's like, here, this is this. Take a look. Rommel in the Desert is for 2 players, ages 12 and up, plays in around 2.5 hours. The Kickstarter project is over 500% funded. You can reserve a copy of the enhanced edition of Rommel in the Desert for a $79 pledge through February 5th. Expected delivery is actually this May. I have not played Rommel in the Desert. I have played other Fog of War block games from Columbia over the years and have enjoyed them. I got to admit, though, I think $79 is a little pricey. And yes, I know it's got a mounted board, and that is a big deal. Because the board's a little bigger, too. Got a little more real estate as well. I don't know. No offense, because I like Columbia games, and I've met Grant Dalglish and interviewed him. He's very, very cool, very nice guy. I just gotta say that's a little pricey. So Kabuki Kid has arrived in chat. Double K is with us as well. So A Great A says Julius Caesar and Napoleon are the block games that he's got from Columbia. I have Julius Caesar and Stonewall. No, or is it called Shenandoah? I think it might be called Shenandoah, which is Stonewall Jackson in, obviously enough, the Shenandoah Valley. I remember years and years and years ago, I played Sam Grant, and that was at a Gen Con in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So that just tells you how long ago that was. Yikes. So Kabuki Kid mentions Hammer of the Scots, Victory in Europe. I've never played Hammer of the Scots. I know, shocking, isn't it? I have never played Hammer of the Scots. Oh gosh, what's the English Civil War? I've got that one too. In fact, I played that not that long ago with Elliot, my best friend Elliot Miller. Brought it over to his house. Is it War of the Roses? Something of the Roses. Very cool. Very cool. Richard III. Thank you, a great A. Yep, that's it. Richard III. And definitely, there's a little wonkiness to it, but I do like it. I do think it's a pretty good game. All right, moving right along, let's talk about some role-playing game news. Although it's kind of funny, we're talking about the Kickstarters, and everybody's like, a great A is like, yeah, Pathfinder for Savage World sucked up all my funds. Kabuki Kid says, Fallen Land, isn't that like the big box second edition? That's on Kickstarter right now. The DT Kickstarter, I'm not sure what the DT Kickstarter was, or is, I should say. But yeah, I know there's actually quite a few Kickstarters floating around right now that are pretty good. John Vogel says they've got Sam Grant, Bob Lee, Rommel in the Desert, and Richard III. I think I played Bobby Lee too. I think I did play Bobby Lee. But Sam Grant was the first that was the first Fog of War block game I ever played. I think that was the first Columbia game I ever played. And I smoked the person it was some stranger I'd never met. And they had never played it either. And I smoked them like a cheap cigar. Took Richmond. I think the game was over in about 45 minutes. So Kabuki Kid says that she's already got the first edition of Fallen Land. So she is only in the Kickstarter for the expansion and the upgrade pack. I gotta say, I don't really know much about Fallen Land. I think it was a tweet from the Players Aid, and they were kind of crowing about the Kickstarter, and they said, hey, we reviewed the first edition and really liked it. So I don't know. All right. Anyway, let's move on to some role-playing game news, because there's a new bundle of holding that has arrived, and it features Forbidden Lands from Free League Publishing. Here's the dope. Adventura. This all-new Forbidden Lands bundle features the Forbidden Lands tabletop fantasy role-playing game from Free League Publishing, makers of Alien, Lawson, Tales from the Loop, and Coriolis. In this open-world survival fantasy role-playing game, you're not heroes sent on missions dictated by others. Instead, you are raiders and rogues bent on making your own mark on a cursed world. Travel the land in any directions you want, exploring as you wish. You'll discover lost tombs, fight terrible monsters, wander the wild lands, and, if you live long enough, build your own stronghold. 2 Forbidden Lands Kickstarter campaigns in September 2017 and September 2019 together raised $500,000. Now get almost all the digital rewards from both campaigns. Rulebooks, cards, maps, and tokens for an unbeatable bargain price. For just $7.95, you get all 3 titles in the starter collection with a retail value of $40 as DRM-free PDFs, including the complete Forbidden Lands core game, both the Player's Handbook and the Game Master's Guide, the Print and Play Forbidden Lands card deck, a book of 4 unique adventure sites, the Spire of Quetzal. And if you pay more than the threshold price of $19.73, you'll level up and also get the entire bonus collection with 4 more titles worth an additional $53, including the campaign expansion, The Bitter Reach, plus its map and cards pack, plus the full-length campaign Raven's Purge, and more honey-drenched adventure sites in Crypt of the Mellified Mage. Don't forget, 10% of your payment after gateway fees will be donated to this Forbidden Lands offers pandemic-related charity, Direct Relief. Cool deal. Nice. I really do like Forbidden Lands. I would probably not run it as written. I've said that umpteen times about umpteen role-playing games. But Forbidden Lands was actually one of my favorite releases of 2019. Really, really liked it. Really dug the box set. So definitely take a peek, because really for $20, not even, just a few cents less than $20, you can get essentially everything that's out there for Forbidden Lands. And I gotta say, the adventures are pretty cool. And it's more kind of like a hex crawl. It's really more like a hex crawl game than anything else, where you'll have map. Well, if you had the physical release, you've got the map of the area, and then you've got stickers, and as your player characters discover different things, you'll actually put the sticker for that location on the map. So everybody's game is going to be different. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Like I said, for less than $20, even if you were going to run the adventures for something else, or you want some ideas, definitely check this out. So, Agrede says they got Salt Lands. They're talking about various different kind of games, I guess, like Fallen Land. I was always curious about Salt Lands. I remember the company that makes it, I forget who it is, had reached out to see if I wanted to review it. I said, sure, here's my address, and then it never showed up. So it's like, I don't know. But isn't Fallen Lands, isn't that like a post-apocalyptic game? I kind of think it is. There's sometimes some of these games just all become like one big game in my head. So I don't know. So Great A says, I don't understand how PDFs of cards, maps, and tokens is a draw. Printing those properly with shipping is about the same price as buying them new. Don't know. All right, my final news piece. There is a new Traveler supplement that is available from Mongoose Publishing. It's available in PDF, not in print just yet, but here are the details on The Glorious Empire. The Glorious Empire is an Aslan splinter state in the Trojan Reach that engages in the forbidden practice of slavery. The Empire has spurned the Aslan custom of ritual warfare, insisting upon violent open war in all conflicts. Their borders have held strong for centuries, until now. Beset by enemies on all sides, the Empire is now collapsing rapidly and has lost one world after another. However, like a wounded and cornered predator, the Empire does not plan to go down without a fight. On the worlds liberated by the Herite, freed human slaves, the Hisori, struggle to integrate into Aslan society. On the Empire's remaining worlds, there are billions more waiting to be freed. This book contains everything needed to run a campaign in this dangerous and volatile region of space, including histories, new career paths, world descriptions, new starships, small craft, vehicles, gear, weapons, and animal encounters. Detailed descriptions of Empire mercenary units, slaving ships, enslaved freedom fighters, black marketeers, key heritage clans, and the vaunted Camaranian starfighters, and more, are provided to add depth and color to any campaign. The Glorious Empire is a living region that will change dramatically over the course of a campaign. Wars will be fought, worlds will fall, then the travelers will directly influence, take part in, and decide the shape of things to come. This book includes tools and campaign directions for referees and travelers to take an active part in the events that change an entire region of space right before their very eyes. In this book, you'll find patrons and important personalities for your travelers to meet and interact with, spacecraft of the Glorious Empire and its enemies, along with unique technologies for the region, the opportunity for your travelers to shape the history of the Trojan Reach and support or bring down a failing empire. Rules for using naval campaigns from Element-class cruisers with Aslan ships, a new entry for the Central Supply catalog that introduces the weapons, armor, and equipment of the Glorious Empire. Traveler, the Glorious Empire is available as a 162-page PDF right now at Drive Through RPG for $29.99, or you can pre-order the hardcover over at the Mongoose Publishing website for $49.99. Nah. Pretty cool. We got more Traveler stuff, but tempering that coolness is, once again, I gotta say it every time I share news about new Traveler stuff. Mongoose Publishing is charging way too much. His prices are nutty. They're just crazy. So Double Z1 has needed to kick it. So thanks for stopping in. Good to see you again. See you next time. Yeah, I know. I hate harping on Mongoose Publishing too, because I'm always like, yeah, cool. Glad to see more Traveler stuff come out, because I really think they've done, for the most part, a really nice job with what is considered Mongoose Traveler Second Edition, because there's still, that it's just a long story with all the Traveler versions that float around out there. But still, $30 for 162 pages for a PDF? That's bonkers. And the funny thing is, Seth Sirkowski, isn't that how I think that's how his last name's pronounced, has done a series of traveler videos that have been really popular. I guarantee that it's put a lot of eyes on Mongoose Traveler. And unfortunately, I think when a lot of people see these prices, they're like, ooh, yikes, no. It's like, just, just my opinion. Just my opinion. I'm not trying to talk people out of buying this, because it does sound like a pretty cool campaign too. It's just, I mean, if it was like $19.99, I'd be like, yeah, okay. But $30, that's a hard sell. All right, enough of that. So Flaming Heron says, I have the same opinion with people who print PDF copies of RPGs. If you print them for free, great. But the cost of printing it and putting it in binding is as much as a softcover copy. Yup. Anybody remember back when, what was it? Was it 3rd edition D&D, or was it 2nd edition D&D that they were releasing stuff that was actually like punched for 3-ring binders? I was like, huh? So some discussion about various different role-playing games and what they run. So Grade A says Stars Without Number is for the hardback, it's $60. If you want it coil bound, I'm going to take a guess you're talking about coil bound because it's compound. I don't know what that might be. It's close to $100. Yowza. Yikes. Well, I'll tell you what. I got a review coming up on Friday. Speaking of getting stuff pretty inexpensively, I'll be reviewing the 3rd edition of Basic Fantasy. So this is my Friday review. So it's, how many pages we at? 100 and what? 163. So it's 163. And I'm not familiar with compound, a grade A. I'm not sure what it is. Anyway, so Basic Fantasy, this book here is $5. It's $5. You can grab it over at Amazon. You're basically paying for cost. I'll tell you one thing, though. Now, Grade A says that Basic Fantasy is their favorite RPG to run. I bought this. I bought Basic Fantasy, and then there's kind of a monster manual. It's not called a monster manual. I forget what it's called. But it's another, I think it was like a $4 book. So not only did I buy them for myself, I also bought copies for my best friend, Elliot Miller, and sent them to him because his birthday is early next month. So I sent him as a birthday present. And I told him, I said, because he's been right. Yeah, that's right. Grade A says Guide to Essential Beasts, or yeah, something along those lines. I don't have it down here with me. It's upstairs, actually. But Elliot was like, huh, kind of surprised you sent me a role-playing game. So I told him, because he's been running 5th edition for some of his family. He's been running Mutants and Masterminds, kind of a My Hero Academia homebrew game. But I told him, I said, check out Basic Fantasy because it's got a lot of modern D&D concepts, although I think it's supposed to be like based on 3.5. But also a lot of the basic and expert as well. So I was telling him, hey, check it out. You might want to, give this a run, because I don't think he really cares for 5th edition a lot. I don't know. I have not played any role-playing game that Elliot has run in decades, so I Couldn't tell you. Doug Roberts is in chat. Good to see you, Doug. Thanks for coming on in. So yeah, so a grade A mentions what I was going to also bring up about Basic Fantasy is it's an awesome community from what I've seen. Tons of free adventures. I mean, if you want the PDF of this, it's free. There's a bunch of supplements with new classes and optional rules and loads of adventures, some of them inspired by classic D&D adventures like Isle of Dread, I think is one. I think, if I remember, I think it's called like Monkey Island or something. I don't know if, I think I would change the name of that module personally, but that's just me. So Grade A says, yes, there's great community support and it's a supportive community as well. So yeah, so kind of cool. It's kind of cool. So yes, a Grade A said it's Monkey Isle is the name of that adventure. Fortress, Tomb, and Tower. I know there's they've got their own kind of Keep on the Borderlands adventure as well. So yeah, I thought pick it up, check it out. I will probably be reviewing Osric as well in the near future. Now that is a Matt. I think I want to say I think Matt Finch did the original edition. I think that's on its second edition as well, and that is kind of like 1E. It's like AD&D, but kind of cleaned up. So we'll see. I'm in this like nostalgic phase. So, like I said, watch for this on Friday. But I do have to admit that the book I got was kind of dinged up. I don't know if you can really catch it, but it's kind of dinged up down here, a little dinged up here. And I know I did not do that. So I don't know if that was because it was packaged pretty nicely. I don't know. But then again, it's a $5 book. I'm not going to freak out about it. I'm not going to be like, I'm returning this. I want my refund. But I don't know how well this book will hold up to a lot of use. That's kind of what I'm kind of curious about. All right. Anyway, that is it for tonight's news. I think it was a Grade A was asking if I had talked about the Symborum beginner box. No, that's already set up for tomorrow's news. So what I've been trying to do is, because I want to try to, get more reviews out there. So what I try to do is I try to get the news for the next day finished. Like right now, I've got all my news except I usually leave like one news piece open that I can slot something in if I run across something or somebody reaches out in the morning. But yes, my news is already done for tomorrow's show. Anyway, that's about it. Nothing exciting. So a Grade A says, I hope they send you a copy. Are you talking about Osric? Because I was thinking of ordering that because I don't think, as I sit here tying my shoe, because I just noticed my shoe's untied. Not that I'm going anywhere. Since I have a thing about my shoes being untied. Don't like it. If I'm wearing shoes, they need to be tied. But anyway, so anything anybody wants to toss out there in the chat? Or should I wrap the show up? Oh, I guess I could mention I've been binge watching Mindhunter on Netflix. I actually had not watched it. And funny enough, I had read some of the John Douglas books years and years ago about, what is the department? Special behavior or something like that. I forget. They do all the profiling of the serial killers and stuff. So I started watching that. I'm already in the second season, although unfortunately we won't be seeing a third season of it. That kind of sucks because it's actually a pretty good show. So Grade A says, yeah, Osric. Yes. I don't know who I'd even contact. To be honest, I was just going to probably order it off of Lulu. I think it's $25 for the hardcover. So, but yeah, just kind of maybe get a peek out of that, because I would like to try to get some more reviews, role playing game reviews out there of stuff that's not, everybody's not covering it. And trust me, I love when I've got a D&D book for me to share, because that brings thousands of viewers. So I always love that. So Grade A says 2013 was the last revision of Osric. Yeah, but come on, it's AD&D. So how much more revising do you need? I would love to take a peek at old school essentials, but I think, if I remember right, I think I reached out to Necrotic Gnome, and they just, didn't say anything. Had nothing to say either. They didn't get back to me, or they just left it. So I don't know. So anyway, but I'd like to share some stuff that may not be on everybody's radar. So, not to say that I'm going to ignore the Pathfinder stuff or Starfinder stuff or the D&D stuff that comes my way, or I know I've got something from Cubicle 7 heading my way. I think it's Soulbound. I think it's something to do with Soulbound. I get like these notifications of stuff that's being shipped. It'll be like, oh, you have a package coming from whatever, and it'll give me a tracking number, and I have no idea what it is. It's just like, it doesn't say who the company is, right? It's like, okay. That stuff just shows up out of nowhere. And it's like, okay, cool with me. I'll do the review. Thanks. But yeah. So anyway, anybody got anything that they want to tackle in chat? I'll give you a minute. So Flaming Heron says, happy surprise. Yeah, usually. Although sometimes I'll get something at some oddball game, and I'm like, why are they sending me this? Who are these people? It's like, how did they get my info? Every once in a while, that'll happen. All right. Well, I guess that's it for tonight's show. That's okay. Wrap up a little early. So, so Grade A asks, is there an RPG release I'm really looking forward to? Well, no. Joking. Absolutely not. Role-playing games, it's for dorks. Yeah, I would like to see. Unfortunately, the thing is, the stuff that I'm really curious about is not on the near horizon. So, for one, I'm really interested in Twilight 2000. I'm really curious what Free League's going to do with that. And I believe they've already got some previews out to their Kickstarter backers. But that's something I'm curious about, because I think that's going to be tricky. I think that'll be a pretty tricky game. So I'm curious about that. I am looking forward to checking it out. And I'm sure all I've got to do is reach out to my contact at Free League. Hopefully she'll still be there, and I'll have it to take a look at. So Flaming Heron says they're looking forward to Power Behind the Throne. The PDF is out. Yep. I'm still waiting for, what's the second part? Death on the Reich. Because the physical edition of Death on the Reich hasn't come out yet, right? Because it'd be like, huh? That's something I definitely want to, because yes, I had the PDF of that as well. But that is something I really am looking forward to, because to me, this is just my personal opinion, and I have not seen all of The Enemy Within, but of the four parts that I'm familiar with for The Enemy Within, I think Death on the Reich is kind of the coolest of the sections, the chapters. it's got some really standout, really memorable things that can take place that that'll really stick with your players for a long time. And I'm not saying like, scaring the crap out of them or anything like, just very unusual and very different encounters than they're used to. And those of you who are familiar with Death on the Reich obviously know what I'm talking about in some respects. I'm very interested in seeing what Paizo and Pinnacle do with the Pathfinder for Savage Worlds. I'm curious how much of that you're going to see. So here, what I mean by that is, so we have the Ultimate Core book, or I should say it's a box set. But you can just get the regular like core rule book. And I'm sort of like curious as far as like the adventures. Are they going to kickstart every time they're going to do a Pathfinder adventure path for Savage Worlds? I got to be honest, I would hope they wouldn't. Seriously, I would hope that they wouldn't be doing that. Because that's just, in my opinion, I've always been of the thought process that Kickstarter should be small companies. Kickstarter should not be like, for an example, Wizards of the Coast shouldn't go and do a Kickstarter. They haven't, thank goodness. But once again, I don't like, and to me, when they do a Kickstarter, it means that it's going to be so long before that comes out. So I would think, because they're pulling in loads and loads of money with this first Kickstarter for Pathfinder for Savage Worlds. I would hope that they plan on just financing some of the other big adventure paths from Pathfinder without necessarily having to take it to Kickstarter. So Agrede says that they're very interested in seeing Dune. Yeah, I don't know. I got to be honest. I don't know. I don't think I got to be honest. I don't know how well that translates over to role-playing games. For the average role player, for the average gamer out there, I don't know. I honestly don't know. As Flaming Heron says, they think Dune would be pretty sandboxy. No pun intended, right? I don't know. Because here's the thing. And I know a lot of people like to talk about how, oh yeah, well, I got my own homebrew. I've got my own home rules for whatever. I got my own system I created. I write up all my adventures. That's not really typical. I guess, some people don't want to admit this. I don't think there's a problem with it. But I believe, and I might be wrong, I believe the vast majority of game masters out there utilize published materials. Now, that doesn't mean that they don't go like off in various directions that's not covered in the adventure modules or adventures or adventure paths, whatever you want to consider them. But I think a great many game masters do use published materials. With Dune, that's a big, like Flaming Heron just pointed out, it's a big cinematic story. You can do whatever you want. The question I have is Dune going to fall into one of these kind of traps where almost like and I know a lot of people love Dragonlance, but I kind of go back to it as far as the adventures that were for D&D. Are the player characters going to have a big impact in the game world, or are they just along for the ride as far as Dune goes? Because I know one of the huge knocks about the Dragonlance adventures, and one of the reasons why the popularity of the Dragonlance adventures really petered out, is because the players were all just sort of like, secondary characters to the big mega plot that was going on in Dragonlance. I'm curious, is that how Dune is going to be? I don't know. The other thing is, how much of the whole setting is going to be included in the first materials that come out. That's what I'm kind of curious about as well. I like Chris Birch. I've talked to Chris Birch quite a few times. I've interviewed him a few times. I like Modiphius Entertainment. I have not reviewed anything from them in a while. But one thing that I have an impression is that Dune will be one of these role-playing games where the core book is going to have just enough setting material to get your feet wet. And I get the feeling we are going to see a series of supplements, quite a few supplements to expand upon the game. So I don't know. I have no idea. I think it's going to start out hot. I don't know how it'll end up. Fleming Heron says, well, I feel that's the thing with Star Wars. If the stories are things people want to play. Yeah, but in my opinion, Star Wars offers you tons of opportunities to have your own stories. Create your own stories. That you don't have to, follow like some like meta play. I mean, you could be, and I'm sure tons of people have done this. You could be running a Star Wars campaign, and all the stuff with like the Death Star and things like that. That's all background. That's happening. That's happening in a galaxy afar, a long way away. Kind of. So Great A says Star Wars has a vast present empire in multimedia. Yeah, if you think about it too, I mean, there's been so many stories, so many novels and things like that have been published over the years. Yes, I know they're not canon anymore, but there's tons of inspiration for Star Wars stories that have very little to do with like the core characters. You could have it where, your characters encounter like a Darth Vader, stuff like that. Or, Princess Leia sends them off on some mission or whatever. Yeah. But once again, they're the stars of the show. Sometimes like Torg, the original Torg was like this too. And it was just such a cool setting and a lot of cool things going on. But once again, it was a meta plot, and it was sort of like, well, now you got to shoehorn your player characters into what's going on in this meta plot. Same thing with World of Darkness. World of Darkness had that issue as well. So Fleming Heron says, I probably meant more that people want to be the stars in a big story, like a Jedi. People don't see games as being small parts. I agree. I completely agree. As the way I look at it, you can run like low fantasy, gritty kind of fantasy role-playing games and stuff like that. That doesn't mean that your player characters aren't like the stars. Yeah, whenever I'm running a game, it does not matter what I'm running. I always make the player characters feel like they are the main characters in a novel or in a TV show or a movie, that it all revolves around them. And they really, really enjoy it. Now, does that necessarily, like, is it true in the greater sense of the campaign? Maybe not. Maybe there's other things going on or behind the scenes, other machinations that they're not aware of. But still, at the table, they are the stars of the show. Plus, something else I always tell people, one of my pieces of advice that I give as far as game mastering is root for your players. Be on the side of the players. You want the players to succeed. Doesn't mean you have to fudge the dice, but it's when you're playing a role-playing game, and I know a lot of people who are not as old as I am don't realize that early on, Dungeons and Dragons and other role-playing games were run where if you were the game master, then it was like it's me against all the players. It was like I've never run games like that. I have always been a fan of the player characters. I'm rooting for the player characters. Does that always mean things are going to go their way? Absolutely not, because it's much more entertaining when things go wrong. But still. So a great A says it's hard to be a star when Moabdib is running around messing things up. I know. That's what I'm kind of curious. I don't know. Are they going to set it, are they going to be like setting adventures before the arrival of House Atreides? Is that how they're going to do stuff? I don't know. I have no idea. I got to say, the artwork looks pretty good in the Dune role-playing game. The rest of it, I don't know. Jury's still out. But yes, I would say that is a role-playing game that a lot of people are looking forward to. I got to be honest. I'm interested in seeing it, but it's not something I'm like, yeah, I really want to see that. I want to check that out. I want to see what they do with that. Not like Twilight 2000. Twilight 2000, I'm like, yeah, I want to see that. I want to check that out. There's other stuff floating out there too that I'm sure I just can't think of off the top of my head. But there you go. So that's what I'm kind of looking forward to as far as role-playing games. I'll have maybe some reviews of other Symborum stuff in the future too. Maybe. Talisman RPG? Nah, I have no interest in that. No interest in Talisman. Just I don't have any point of reference for it. I didn't play the board game. Never played it, so I don't know. I know Talisman's been out for a bit though. At least in PDF it's been out. I don't know if the physical book is out. Alrighty. So we are approaching the hour. So once again, let me remind you, if you like this video, by all means, actually, I should talk about the contest, right? I always forget to do the contest. Anyway, if the Gaming Gang channel hits 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month, I'll be giving away my copy of Next War Korea. This is in shrink from GMT Games. I think we're 148 subscribers away as of last time I looked earlier today. Also, I should point out, let me pop over here, that if the Gaming Gang channel reaches 5,000 subscribers by the end of the month, I will actually give away a first edition Dungeons and Dragons, advanced Dungeons and Dragons set. I will include the Player's Handbook, Dungeon Master's Guide, as well as the Monster Manual. Those will all have Jeff Easley artwork. That's if we hit 5,000 subscribers by the end of the month. Pretty tough there. And if we hit 6,000 subscribers by the end of next month, I will award somebody my copy of the alternate art edition of Dungeons and Dragons Candlekeep Mysteries, and I will make sure that they get it the day it comes out in stores. So there's that. I would like to try to give it away to new subscribers as opposed to doing a contest where, like, because I'll probably do a page through, right, and show off the book. And that's a lot of times when I sit there and say, oh, so all you got to do is comment, then, and then, you're in the running. You got to be a subscriber and comment. But it's just drawn from people who are watching that video. So I would prefer to give it away to people who hang out and watch other videos on the channel as well. So to get in the running for these contests, which I got to be honest, we got a shot. We got a shot with Next War Korea. We do. We actually have a shot. But all you got to do is be a subscriber and comment on any video. Don't be a jerk with the comment. Make it a nice comment. Anyway, just a regular comment. Just don't be an asshole. Because I don't like, well, I shouldn't say don't like. I will not award a, contest prize. I don't know why I'm holding that up. I want to award a contest prize to somebody who's a jerk to me. Yeah, hey, thanks for making me feel terrible. Hey, here's that game. Yeah. So that's it. That's all you got to do. Be a subscriber and comment on a video before the end of the month. You're in the running if we get to that point, that number of subscribers. All right. Anyway, as I started to say, if you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. If you do subscribe, ding that bell. I'll not only let you know when the Dispatch airs live Monday through Thursday nights right here on YouTube, as I bring you the latest in tabletop gaming news. I'll also tell you when I upload other videos, such as tonight's review of Apocalypse Road from GMT Games. Check that out. I will have this up in about a half hour. Half hour from now, it should be live. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. Be sure to get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Those of you hanging out, watching live, thank you very much. Always appreciate you taking some time to, bum around, keep me company, so I don't feel like a total doofus just talking to a camera. But I know there are folks out there who watch who don't have an opportunity to watch live. Maybe you're even watching on Memorex. I really, really appreciate you taking the time out to watch this dingbat pontificate too. All right. Anyway, everybody enjoy the rest of your Wednesday or Thursday or whatever day it might happen to be. I will be back tomorrow. And as I've been wrapping up all my videos during this never-ending pandemic, although today just seems to be lighter and brighter for some reason. Not necessarily because of the pandemic or anything, just because of something else that took place earlier today. But as I wrap up all my videos during the never-ending pandemic, I certainly do hope all of you out there are being smart and staying safe. Oh, you're still here. Well, if that's the case, if you'd like to subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel, by all means, click right here. And if you'd like to check out one of our recent live streams, click right up top. And if you want to roll the dice and see what the algorithm for YouTube recommends, click right here. And of course, thank you once again for watching. And gang, please stay safe and wear a mask.